So, The Nun. Many would say one of the worst movies in the Conjuring universe, but is it really that bad? She was first introduced to us in James Wan's The Conjuring 2, which was really a true story, I swear. And this was such a success that a spin off was immediately greenlit. This was the third spin off after the Annabelle movies, and I'm sure they made these because they had great stories to tell and not for any other reason. But for years, everybody is telling me that Rotten Tomatoes sucks, so let's do something controversial. And I don't know, watch the movie? So the movie starts with a recap of The Conjuring 2, which doesn't make sense because this is a prequel, so everything we see here has not happened yet in this movie. This movie is also a prequel to Annabelle Creation, because the nun made a picture cameo in that movie and also had that dumb post-credit scene. Annabelle Creation in itself is also a prequel to Annabelle, which is a prequel to The Conjuring. So that makes The Nun the prequel to the prequel to the prequel of the sequel of The Conjuring. And if you think this is confusing, just wait. So now we go back to 1952, where we see two nuns walk through a dark hallway to a door that has God ends here above it. Look, I'm not an expert, but if a door has God ends here above it, I will not open it. And luckily for us, they do not open it as well. Did you really fucking believe that? Of course they fucking open it. So one of the nuns goes in but comes back and gives the other nun a key with the message that the evil can't take her. So the other nun runs away, ties a noose around her neck, and jumps out the window just before Valak can get to her. Actually, I think she did not have to unalive herself since Valak trains at the same gym as Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers, meaning that she does not run. So the next morning, a guy named Frenchie finds the body of that nun. And can we just give a round of applause for her dramatic timing? Because she has been hanging there the entire night, but only fell the second another person saw her. Now, that is commitment. Next, we meet the priest from The Exorcist. Father Burke, of course. He has a meeting in the Vatican about him needing to look into the unaliving we just saw, and he will be joined by Sister Irene. So, Sister Irene is played by Thaisa Farmiga, the 20-year younger sister of Farrah Farmiga, who plays Lorraine in the Conjuring universe. And since Thaisa is about 20 years younger than Farrah, and this movie takes place about 20 years before The Conjuring, I think it is safe to assume that this is the same character. Well, they haven't confirmed it yet, but I'm sure they will before the end of the movie. Right? Sister Irene and Father Burke go to Romania and let Francie, who is French Canadian, bring them to the Abbey. Irene and Burke go inside and have dinner, and Francie leaves because he's like, I don't want to stay there. So during dinner, Father Burke tells about the one time he had to perform an exorcism on a little boy. He did that by tying him up alone in an empty barn and reading from the Bible, but in the end, he died. So you are telling me that the church gave an older man permission to tie up a young boy with nobody else around? Huh. Moving on, Sister Irene reveals that she has been having visions. What those visions are, don't know, doesn't matter. But they always end with Mary points the way. I'm sure it was purely for character development and not cheap exposition. So in the next scene, Father Burke sees a ghost version of that little boy. Why did I expect better from this movie? So the ghost boy leads Burke to the graveyard where he falls into an open grave and he gets buried alive. But when the camera goes up, it looks like the grave has never been touched. Movie I think Freddy Krueger called because this should only happen on Elm Street. At the same time, Sister Irene meets Valak for the first time, and don't tell anybody. But they basically do the same thing as in the painting scene from The Conjuring 2. After that, Irene runs to the graveyard to save Burke. But how does she find him? Because remember, the grave looked untouched. Valak wrote, Here lies Father Burke on a tombstone, above the grave of the guy who she tries to kill. I'm just going to speedrun through the next 30 minutes of the movie because, like, nothing really happens. Because for some reason, getting buried alive is not a reason to go. So Father Burke goes to do research while Irene talks to the other nuns. Here, a nun explains that in the abbey there is a gateway to hell that in the Dark Ages was opened, but the Knights of the Round Table closed it with the blood of Christ. Sure. But in World War II, bombs were dropped on the abbey, and that's how the gateway opened again. Sure. To save everyone from Valak, Irene goes to pray with the other nuns, while Father Burke and Frenchie, who comes back because the final act of this movie needs him, join them. Only they do not see the other nuns. Huh? What's going on? So it turns out that the other nuns have been dead all along, and Sister Irene has been talking to ghost projections made by Valak. Valak basically played an IRL game of The Sims. The Sims non-expansion pack, coming soon. So next, one of the ghost projections attacks them, and Frenchie starts shooting it with his shotgun. Fucking idiot, you can't shoot a ghost? It worked. It fucking worked. So they make a plan to seal the gate, but before that, Sister Irene first wants to take her vows. There's an evil demon trying to kill you, but sure, let's waste time on this. This movie has to get to 90 minutes somehow. They find a statue of Mary pointing, remember Mary points the way, and Mary points to a ball with the blood of Christ. And we get treated to maybe the best line in cinematic history.
The blood of Christ. Holy shit. The holiest.
The next 10 minutes is just all of them splitting up and getting jump scared by Valak until they find the gate, which has turned into an indoor swimming pool for some reason. Valak, the lifeguard, shows up, all like no rotting in the pool, and undoes herself from Burke and Frenchie like they are annoying flies. And she shows Irene what happens when you swim without lessons and drowns her. But Valak doesn't trust this and holds up Irene like, "Are you fucking with me?" And Irene is like, "No." Psych, and spits the blood from Christ in Valak's face, and this causes to close the gateway, and Valak is gone for some reason. So, just asking, but Irene sucking on the blood of Christ, does that count as breaking her vows? Just asking. With the gate sealed, everything is fine and everyone gets ready to go home. We learn that Frenchie is actually called Maurice. So you're telling me the French-Canadian guy took Frenchie as a fake name? Man, this guy is worse at coming up with names than J.K. Rowling. Okay, but Frenchie revealed his real name, so I'm sure we will learn that Irene is actually Lorraine. No? Oh, okay. Everything seems to be fine, but oh no, Frenchie Maurice is actually possessed by Valak. This happened before the gate was closed, and then we learned that Ed and Lorraine actually performed an exorcism on him in The Conjuring. Frenchie is the connection with The Conjuring, not Irene? Why cast Tyson the little sister of Farah? This doesn't make any fucking sense. And that ends the dumbest fucking movie I have seen in a long time. Valak, her plan was so dumb. All she needed was a soul. She could have taken the souls from the beginning, but no. Then the first night, she buries Burke alive and can take Irene her soul, but she doesn't for some reason. Then she has multiple opportunities to take the souls of both Burke and Irene when they are split up, but no, instead she does ghost projections and lets one of the ghosts tell Irene how to close the gate. Why the fuck would you do that? That doesn't make any fucking sense. This movie is so fucking stupid.